I once again open my eyes, I see a copy of Steamroid in my deck, and I realize that I am back in my own personal hell. Many of you guys wanted to see how much further Syrus could make it in this run on a second attempt, so we're going to be doing just that today. As far as his deck, we can't make a lot of changes to the monster lineup unfortunately, but we did add Future Fusion to help deck thin, or in best case scenario, actually get out fusions easier since he really needs to depend on that a little bit more, and we have the Vehicroid Connection Zone as well, which can summon out only the Jumbo Drill unfortunately, but it would protect it from being destroyed by any card effects on your opponent's side of the field. I believe just spells and traps, don't quote me on that. Then I was also looking through his deck list from the second season, and he does have a copy of Trap Hole that we were able to add here. For his anime exclusive cards, Waboku will be replacing Cyber Repairer. There's no entry actually, so Windstorm or Bataqua will be substituting for that. And I had no idea that weapon change was in the game, but Shield and Sword is actually a lot better synergistically for our deck anyway, so we're gonna keep rocking with that. Mirror Damage reflected the burn of Power Bond to the opponent, so Dimension Wall is gonna be the closest that we'll get there. I really wish that we had access to some of these other cards like the Stealth Union. There's nothing that's equivocal to Life Force either, but for Ring of Life, I'm playing Compulsory Evacuation Device because a lot of people would assume Ring of Destruction would be the closest substitute, but that's a lot more vicious and destructive because it does burn as well, and that's not the point of Syrus's trap card, so Compulse is going to be the closest thing that I think fits aesthetically, or thematically rather. And now with that briefing all taken care of, we can finally go back to where it all went wrong. Titan. Now, looking at my starting hand, it is significantly better than on our last run. However, there's not a lot that I can do off the gate here. I don't like to use Graceful Charity unless I have at least one card that I'm very comfortable discarding, which I don't at this particular moment. And I don't want to get rid of everything I have right now, so card destruction won't get me any advantage. So I'm just going to be sitting on the Shining Angel, and I'm actually going to have to do that for 2 straight turns as we draw the Vehicroid Connection Zone later. So now with UFO-Roid on the field, I draw into my Spirit Monster, which is nice, but not gas enough for what I'm looking for right now. So I finally throw down the Graceful Charity, throwing out the card destruction and my copy of Gyroid. I'm back in the exact same position I was in last time. I'm gonna have to rely on the Sasuke Samurai. So I'm gonna use it attacking into the Slate Warrior and rely on heads, and we hit the coin flip, thank God. So Slate Warrior has been destroyed here. I'm not gonna do anything with the UFO-Roid at the moment. I'm just gonna switch it into defense, set my trap card and pass. A second 1800 beater has just hit the field, and we're gonna swing straight into the Sasuke. I have faith in heads. Tsunachi! We've hit a second time in a row. Lajin has been taken care of, but there's still danger on the horizon. Sasuke readies his sword, and it can't be heads 3 times. Tsunachi! The Gilgarth goes down as well. We have cleared a path to victory, hopefully, as his field lays barren. I summon out my Drillroid, so now together with my UFO-Roid and my Sasuke Samurai, I get to deal a whopping 4,000 damage to Titan directly. In the most hating move I've ever seen though, he does respond both with a Dark Core to banish my Drillroid and an Exiled Force, but he destroys the UFO instead of hitting the real threat, so the pressure is still on. Without a monster to defend himself, both my Sasuke and my Spirit Monster get to whittle away at his life points even more. On his next turn, he does summon the Copycat, but Waboku keeps my Adhesive Explosive alive. And with all the monsters that I have in my hand still, I get to run over it easily and attack for game. We have finally redeemed ourselves, and Titan, the 6th Shadow Rider, has been defeated in battle. It's kind of messed up that like half of the Shadow Riders just die, but like 4 of them get to just move on with their lives. It's really pick and choose. Later the next day, a bunch of Obelisk Blues march into my room, and they tell me that Atticus and Chaz are both missing. As I continue about my day without, calling the police, I notice in the classroom that Alexis is missing as well, and the Chancellor had already informed us that Professor Banner was too. I hate to see my best friend Jay look like a rabid dog, so I decide to go investigate things. But first I go on a hike for a couple of hours because everybody knows the abandoned dorm only appears at night, kinda like a Pokemon side quest. With Amna, the final Shadow Rider, standing before us, I'm ready to take on the boss rush. Mini boss rush. He activates the field spell Mausoleum of the Emperor and pays the 1,000 life points to give rise to the Golden Homunculus with 1,500 attack points. Very anticlimactic, but I'm glad that it's here now instead of later. He does flip over Macrocosmos though, so for the rest of this duel, any card that would go to the graveyard will get banished instead, meaning that cards like my Premature or Call of the Haunted, Shining Angel, and UFO Roid, I can't rely on any of those effects to help me through the mid-game. I have to get rid of this homunculus no matter what, so I throw down my polymerization spell, fusing together my Steamroid and my Gyroid, banishing them from this game so that I can summon my 2200 Steam Gyroid. And alongside it is my Shining Angel to help run over the Helios, but once I enter battle, he flips over the Grand Convergence Quick Play spell, eliminating all monsters from both sides of the field. I'm not only completely wide open, but I only have a single card in my hand to work with now because he completely caught me overextending. I have to take the full force of Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer's 1,800 attack points. With only one monster in my hand, I have no choice but to set it. Luckily, he does attack it with the Kaiku, but now there's the DD Warrior that I have to worry about. So if I do get a monster, that'll banish it once they battle each other. I'm really depending on every single card coming off of the top here. And while Shining Angel isn't the most amazing monster to draw, it's actually perfect in this situation because I would rather lose a Shining Angel over something like a Steamroid that I could possibly use for a fusion summon later. So now DD Warrior is off the field, and once my Spirit Monster detonates, we're in a very similar situation, except for the card advantage, of course. He sees the second copy of his Helios, the Primordial Sun, and this time it comes with 1,000 attack points, which isn't a lot to get over, but again, I have no monsters. I need a good draw here, and it's not the most amazing. I would actually rather save this for something like a Homunculus because he still has the Mausoleum. I decide to pass my turn playing nothing, and by the graces of the gods, he does not have a monster to summon yet. I am taking another 1,000 though, putting me at only 2,700, and curiously, he sets a monster. It must be something defensive like a Banisher of the Light, and then I see it. The Holy Grail Submarine Roid, the original clutch monster of this run. Submarine Roid's ability to attack directly and slowly chip away at the opponent while walling up with 18 is not to be underestimated, especially because Homunculus is the only monster in Amna's deck that I know of that can actually swing over it. He does not see it here. He switches Primordial into defense mode and sets a back row. Come on. Heart of the cards. That's actually not bad at all, because now if he does get the Homunculus, I can make sure that my Submarine Roid survives another turn. I stay patient, I keep my head down, and I keep hammering away. I absolutely cringe as he sees the DD Warrior Lady hit the field now. Thankfully, this isn't the most advanced AI ever, so she does not attack my Submarine Roid just to get it off the field. Otherwise, I think I could have really died here. I live long enough to see a Graceful Charity added to my hand now. I'm not going to use it just yet though. Turn 15 is where shivers were sent down my spine because he activates the Mausoleum once more, paying 2,000 life points to set a monster. This is only the Magistus Trio, who would be 3 times as strong as Helios, putting her at 3,000. I have no idea why the AI set her. I'm grateful though. Thank you. finally flips over the Helios Trismegistus with 3,300 attack points and attempts to destroy my submarine droid, but I have the Windstorm of Ataqua to save me for this turn. Amna sets one more face down, 2 cards in his back row, and thanks to the combination of my Supercharged Trap and the Graceful Charity in my hand, I've dug deep enough into my deck that I now have the Mystical Space Typhoon. I target the new face down since the old one hasn't procced yet, and I've destroyed the Mirror Force. Now with the might of Power Bond, I will combine my Steamroid and my Gyroid for the Steam Gyroid with 4,400, able to easily run over the Helios and remove it from the field. Unfortunately, I'm taking 22 directly to my life points, so while he sits at 800, I'm sitting at 500. And to the shock of absolutely everybody, he drew nothing. Steamroid has managed to take me all the way, and I have beaten the last of the Shadow Riders. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. We've won. But of course, you all know it's not that easy. It's time for round 2. My hand for the second duel would have been decent if it wasn't for the UFO Roid in my hand. I really don't want that here right now. He sets the Primordial Sun and tributes it to special summon Helios Duos Magistus. It doesn't really do anything, but it does keep coming back because when Helios gets sent to the graveyard instead of being banished, she'll summon herself at the end of the turn. So I'm just using Shining Angel. I'm kind of just attacking just because, and I have to end my turn there. Professor Banner does get the Mausoleum, however, so paying that dreadful number of 1,000. Here is the Golden Homunculus. Again, though, very grateful I have it now instead of later when it has 4,000 plus attack points. But it is still stronger than everything that's in my hand at the moment. I attack the Helios who was left in attack mode so that I can do a little bit of damage in return to him. And then in my second main phase, I use the Mausoleum, paying 1,000 myself to normal summon the UFO Roid. If it's already in my hand, I'm really gonna make it work for me. Now, my plan was to use limited removal to counter-strike against the Homunculus, and that's exactly what happened, but I didn't expect him to also get the DD Assailant so soon, which is a very troubling card. However, with its nice 1,700, I reflected attack right back at him with the Magic Cylinder Trap card, leaving him at a measly 3,300. So, life point wise, I have a huge advantage over him, but I'm not really sure about my presence. But it's like they say, when you think you're going to die, you must summon the Samurai! Ichigeki Hisotsu Samurai ga DD Assailant Kogeki! Watashi no koi no tamashi o shinjite imasu! Hai! Sonachi! I've successfully destroyed the DD Assailant. Your monsters are not going to be banishing any more of my cards. My Shining Angel, attacks for 1,100 more, bringing you down to only 22. That's as far as he's going to carry us in this duel though, because then Banner plays the Smashing Ground spell card, destroying the monster on my field with the highest defense. Thank you for your service, Sasuke. I run into his face down Banisher of the Light, and while at first I feel silly for doing so, I realize that now Banisher of the Light is removing everything from play when it leaves, so I get to, on a later turn, attack the Helios to finally get it out of here. I attempt to Call of the Haunted back my Sasuke, but that's immediately met with the Mystical Space Typhoon, and Soul Absorption is steadily recovering all of Banner's life points. But it's over once I finally draw and summon the Drillroid, cutting his way through all of Banner's defenses and opening a path to victory. We have finally won this duel. He goes on a whole monologue about the plot before he passes away, but I never paid attention to him in class, and I'm not gonna start now. Now, taking a break from all of the serious tones, we have a bunch of beach babes leading us into the Atticus duel. We all know how this goes, so I'm just gonna run through it. It was like 10 whole minutes of stall and floaters, even after I stole his Panther Warrior from him, before he finally just died. After our duel, he says that he's going to step away for a bit, but that he wants me to wait right here for him at night in the middle of the beach. It's freezing cold. I'm like, what the hell are we doing? And then he comes back with a copy of Tag Force. We have the most annoying duel in the entire game up in front of us now. Let's just do our best to get through it. When he plays the King of the Swamp, I completely forgot that, yeah, this is supposed to technically be an Ojama deck. Just filled with a bunch of burn and stall. And no actual Ojama win condition. Ojama muscle's in the game. They could have tried it. I summon the Shining Angel. I fully expect to attack into a Stealth Bird, but it was actually just Ojama Green, so, you know, there goes that, I guess. He plays a Balganian for burn on his standby, and the Messenger of Peace to help stall out so that he can keep burning me, but my Shining Angel is stronger than Balganian and weaker than the spell, so it kind of does nothing. He just continues to pay 100 life for the rest of the duel. Especially because I get out my submarine roid, so I'm just constantly poking him for 800. And, you know, normally I want to say that drawing a second Shining Angel is a bad thing, but in this situation, like, it was a perfect draw. This went a lot better than I was hoping for it to, though. His field was wide open for me at one point, and when he did finally get the Stealth Bird, I attack into it on purpose, and then Windstorm of Ataqua to force it into attack mode, and now that threat is gone, and yeah, before I knew it, I won. It was really smooth. I was proud of myself. Now we're at the big turning point in the story with Kagamaru, and even though Jaden hasn't dueled a single Shadow Rider, they want me to go up next, which... I mean, seriously, you know, what the hell's up with that? Like, in this game, I don't think they make Crowler duel Camula. It was just Zane and then me. Jaden only dueled the Paradox Brothers, and then us way in the beginning. They're kind of hoeing him a little bit, but, you know, we are the main character now, so I can't complain. Let's just pick ourselves up by the bootstraps and get her done. Game 1. I line up a bold play with 2 face downs and a submarine roid in attack mode for turn 1. Kagamaru responds with an even bolder play, wielding Haman, Lord of Striking Thunder. My deck won't fall that easily because by combining Waboku and Supercharge, I get 2 free cards. You know, to replace the 2 cards I just spent. I have Old Reliable on the follow-up, back to square 1. But with 2 spells already on his field, the right draw could put me back to square 1. Until then, I get a quick 2200. He's guaranteed to brick, so the smart thing to do would be to use Graceful to dig for my MST, but my opponent doesn't believe in his deck the way that I believe in mine, so he won't draw what he needs in time. I attack again. My stomach sinks as he reveals Messenger of Peace, his final spell. But then he kind of just ends his turn. All 3 of my monsters bypass Messenger, so I just attacked for game. That honestly didn't feel too good, but I'll take it. Game 2 gives me room to play anything I want. My deck provides me the juicy hand of Gyroid and 3 face downs, all according to plan. Then he summons Slate Warrior, and I instantly panic and flip Limiter Removal to counterattack it and remove its nipples from my E for Everyone game. He died gloriously. I know he's playing a trap deck, but when I see Moving Fortress, I had to pop it straight away to give the game a taste of its own medicine. His set card turns out to be Ordeal of a Traveler, but he plays a trap deck, so if it isn't face down, I automatically assume that that's a monster. And what a hell of a monster to reveal to me. I was officially terrified. Instead of playing it, he attacks with an uncensored Naked Mannequin Mannequin, and even though I have Sasuke Samurai, I was ready with Creature Swap. Now I was about to use his own powerful fiend against him, not without declaring monster. What are the odds? The Metal Reflect Slime blocks my direct attack, but Sasuke isn't scared of big numbers because he can't read. I declare a monster! Seriously, what the fuck is the other card in his hand? Usually you'd want him to get 3 traps and summon his monster, but I want to do as much damage as I can now. And with Morphing Jar, I doubt he'll have trouble drawing what he needs. When he finally sets a monster, I fire Compulse, and we finally get to see the other card in his hand was a Marshmallow. So now I have 2 monsters to worry about, and I don't know how long I'll sit here waiting for him to draw Uriah. Slate Warrior, attack the face. Wait. But now if you set Morphing Jar, you lose your card. I flip the Divine Wrath to negate Morphing Jar. Sitting at only 100 life point though, I have no choice but to rely on Sasuke to deal the decisive blow. I also have to use him now to clear Marshmallow. Heads has been on my side, so this must be tails. Tsunachi! But the final test is here. I lose Waboku to the Searing Flame. With my back against the wall, I will overcome. The soul of the coin calls to me. For the last duel of our epic battle, Kagamaru plays the Great Gilgarth and nothing else. I set on good old Submarine Roid and let him build his board until he finds Ravael, Lord of Phantasms. He might have sunk my battleship, but Supercharge fetches me 2 new cards. Even though his Sengen tutored a Wall of Illusion, my Graceful Charity gets me a holy grail of a hand. With every tool at my disposal, I opt to just set 2 and pass. This prompts him to summon the Wall in attack mode for max damage, and then he falls for my Dimension Wall, reflecting 4,000 damage back at him. Then Compulse gets him off the field so I can go hard. I play Polymerization to fuse Steam, Submarine, and Drillroid for the Super Viacroid Jumbo Drill. And I summon Sasuke to stack lethal, only to fall for a Mirror Force. I had no idea he ran this in any of his decks, and I feel like the biggest idiot for falling for it. Then I think I'm still set with Magic Cylinder and Future Fusion, and he heavy storms me! Thank God he just has this stupid Flesh Wall. Premature Burial revives Gilgarth to swing directly, but thanks to his own wall, Steamroid was safe in my hand. And now, after paying 800, he's in range to fall once and for all. And now that the drama is out of the way and the island is safe, our buddy Chumley needs to duel to help him work through some things, so we're here to help. Or I was just here to help, but he summoned Chirin and destroyed my Supercharge. Looking at how bricky my hand is, you can see why I'm pissed. As a matter of fact, he got so disrespectful with it that he tossed out MST just to MST. But with Submarine Roid buying me time, I have most of the pieces that I need to pay him back plenty. I thought my wall would crash down once Berserk Gorilla hit the field, but thank the Lord for this AI because it attacked Shining Angel instead. Long story short, now I have 2 submarines. I set 2 trying to plan around the Chirin, and he had Dust Tornado. Luckily, I started to figure out that if you set 2, they'll destroy the one on the right. Even better, he didn't have a spell to use Chirin's effect, so I gotta resolve my Magic Cylinder. And with that, his fate was sealed because I have 3 submarines! And this. With some stress now relieved, Chumley says he had some feelings that were eating at him. He was offered a position as a card designer at the only card making company we know in this timeline, which is crazy because I thought you had to be 18 to work in Japan. Does this mean that Pegasus isn't Japanese? Does he speak Japanese? Or does everyone else speak English? Is a YouTuber ever gonna make a video on this? We'll never know. We support our friends, so even though abandoning school is usually a stupid decision, the entire point of this school is to get a job in card games, so I don't see the issue. And who can argue with logic in a world where nothing makes sense? Soon, the most amazing thing happens. My big brother chose me as his final duel ever at the Duel Academy. And oh man, who am I supposed to root for? I have to duel my best ever. My brother wouldn't want anything less. The whole school is here to watch me. The pressure is on. This will be the day that I earn my stripes and my brother's respect. T-set pass. Zane came in swinging with a mech chaser, and his kinetic soldier wasted my explosive when I was expecting a second beat stick. Moments like these make me wonder if the AI cheats, but if not, that was a great read. Then, since I drew UFO, I actually sack my Shining Angel to tribute summon it in attack mode. I must look like a complete amateur to the untrained eye, but now with Supercharge, I'll get 3 new cards. And once I saw my draws, I knew the game was going to be mine in this moment. Now with Gyroid on my field, drawing Steamroid gives me access to 2 of my fusions, and Premature Burial gives me my final option since Sasuke has been hiding in my hand this whole game. It cost me some life and the field advantage, but my deck has rewarded me with a godly setup, and I'm about to show Zane everything I've learned. I activate Future Fusion, declaring Jumbo Drill. I follow it up with Hammer Shot to clear Mech Chaser so that Sasuke Samurai only has 1 monster to deal with. The coin will lead me to victory again. I call heads! My instinct has finally failed me and the Samurai has fallen, but I'm perfectly okay with that because I don't want to beat my brother with sheer luck. I can finally inflict some damage with Submarine Roid, but he doesn't survive for long because Call of the Haunted recalls the 1850 Mechanical Chaser. After all this time, Future Fusion finally resolves. I summon the Super Viacroid Jumbo Drill! I don't know why Cyber Dragon isn't on the field, but I'm confident that I know what is. It didn't matter that Sasuke failed, because once I enter battle, Zane reveals his Mirror Force Trap card. I respond with Defusion, splitting up my Jumbo Drill into its 3 fusion material in defense mode so they can all survive the counter. Now that I've proven I know how to use a card, I activate Power Bond. At the cost of 3,000 life points, I refuse the Jumbo Drill with 6,000! His best trap is gone, his dragons are too late, and defense can't save him. I can finally play the Drillroid I've been holding on to so that I can destroy the DD Assailant with its ability, and Jumbo can now safely inflict 5,000 points of damage. That middle card has been face down the entire duel. I attack one last time, and we'll never know what his card was. In this emotional end to our epic battle, Zane expresses his belief in my new skills as a duelist. I am the strongest in the academy now. I've done it. Sophomore year begins, and with my good grades, I was promoted to Raw Yellow, which is a little insulting considering my feats, but it beats sleeping with roaches. But what's a main character without a new rival? Aster's defenses are surprisingly heavy, but if I can break it, maybe he won't have enough cards for fusion. I failed another coin toss, but now we see he set Warrior Lady, so I'm relieved that I didn't have a better monster to summon. Burstinatrix comes out, but I can't have these ladies sync up, so she gets the weirdest trap hole in history. I know I can overcome my slump. Destiny is mine. I call heads! I failed a 3rd time in a row now, and Sasuke was defeated. I think it's safe to say the lucky streak is finally over. Thankfully, I've got my hands on Drillroid, but I don't want to be wide open, so I choose to end my turn. And I'm met with a Ring of Destruction. After 2 more attacks, I have half his life total. I could easily be 1 turn away from a loss. Steamroid comes to my rescue, and it gets Mirror Forced! Then who needs 3 polys when you can just draw the one of? This is the stupidest RNG I've ever had. I literally feel like Joey in that filler arc. At 700, Premat is officially dead. Gyroid crashes into Sengen to at least get that 1 body off the field, but now even tier limits can't save me. He plays a million cards before just attacking me for 500, and this is where he uses his Banish. That card feels like the 2005 version of SP. Steamroid expects to run into Clayman, but I was baited into triggering Magician of Faith so Aster recovers his Avarice. This man is styling on me so egregiously hard. Elemental Hero Tempest is here. Sengen is back somehow, and I'm forced to use the windstorm I was holding to survive. Of course, I would draw a second power bond with only 200. My deck has gone full-blown suicidal today, so if I'm gonna die, it will be on my terms. I will regain control of my destiny. I call heads! Tsunachi! He gets to search Wildheart, and Polly is in his hand, but his field is finally empty. He rectifies that with Miracle Fusion for Wild Edge. Instead of taking the guaranteed kill, he tests my gangster, but I don't hesitate. Heads! Tsunachi! He wasted the normal on Wildheart. The difference in power between our cards is ludicrous. Goldsark, Avarice, Graceful, and Rhoda for a Thunder Giant. I didn't use the hand destruction when I should have, and it might have cost me this duel. This wouldn't be the last time he embarrassed a Truesdale. Now Tyranno was bothering me, and his Lightning Vortex sucked, but he lost the duel to Submarine Roid. But that wasn't good enough for me. So I decided to rewind to my last save and build a devious new deck to show you what I mean by keeping it canon. With the rest of the Roids missing, I can't do Syrus's infamous combo, but Summon Blaster is still in the game, so after 6 games of not seeing my combo pieces or getting heavy stormed on turn 1, I finally had a good one. See, my deck is nothing but recruiters and other weak monsters that float. Mystic Tomato can only summon itself and Giant Germ, for example. I have Shining Angel, but I'm also running 3 copies of UFO Roid. I have over 40 cards and my strongest monster is 1400, but I'm a raw yellow now, and I'm gonna prove how I got here. Card Destruction triggers Dandelion to summon fluff tokens while also getting my Goldsark to search for the second and final piece of my combo. With Hydro Geddon getting 3 attacks, I use Kamakiri to skip straight into a copy of Gyroid specifically meant as a counter to his Chem Critter eating up 2 attacks. On the next turn, he decimates my forces before summoning the Superconductor Tyranno. I really wanted the other one, but I discarded it earlier, which probably saved my life now that I'm looking back at it. Usually, his 4 face-down cards would be terrifying, but my deck never needs to enter the battle phase, so his traps mean nothing to me. DNA Surgery is in my hand now, and Pot of Avarice drew me a second Cyber Summon Blaster while putting some of my recruiters back into my deck. He didn't activate an MST, so now my setup was complete. DNA changes all monsters on the field to machine type. One recruiter summons a second one, triggering both of my blasters to fire for 600 points, meaning if I special summon 13 times, I win the duel, and my deck has well over 20 monsters. One UFO Turtle turns into 2 more, plus 3 Mass Dragons, so by itself, it totals 3,000 damage. And while this doesn't trigger the combo, Apprentice Magician searches Magician of Faith to recover my Avarice for 5 more special summons. Then, with Dark Room of Nightmare tacking on another 600 by itself, I turn Tyranno's own mighty monsters against him. And that's how I recreated Syrus's combo with none of the cards existing in the game. The Chancellor announces a tournament where the best duelists in the world are invited to participate, which should be exciting news, but I re-encounter undefeated pro Aster Phoenix, and he spits all over my family name. He scoffs at how he publicly embarrassed my big brother with a spare deck of his, and then moves on with his life. This continues to be a rough few weeks for me where I completely lose contact with my only known family member, and even after Jaden comforts me a little, Chumley visits accusing Zane of being some monster. His disproportionate shoulders offend me, and I politely ask him to leave. I get absolutely hammered with bad news about my brother again and again after, so we fast forward to Nightshroud. My field is just Shining Angel and a face down, so of course he tries to pop my trap, but I set Compulse expecting exactly that. Then I kind of just attacked over everything and won with Caveman Yu-Gi-Oh! All of this chaos has caused both Alexis and I a lot of pain, and I just can't take it anymore, so I'm putting an end to it all now. In this life or death mini-boss, Zane's most powerful deck uses Foolish Burial to throw out a defense monster, and then summons Proto Cyber with no back row. I want to talk shit, but my hand doesn't look any better. I don't need Sasuke's effect to resolve, so when I enter battle, I call Tails. And Tsunachi, I hit anyways, so I failed to do 100 damage. Very nice. Zane sends Future Fusion into the future, nice 4-turn play, and the real Cyber Dragon appears. This is the turn of the century. The future meets tradition, and I am stuck in my ways. I call heads! Tsunachi! Even power creep itself cannot overcome my Sasuke Samurai. Still no monsters in my hand, but I cannot afford to hesitate. I double down on my fate. This was another miss, so soon, causing myself 1,000 points. But we both still stand, and since he has no follow-up, that is one more chance to tear down the fortress. I attack again, and again I've missed. I'm down on 2,000 points, but my spirit will not waver. I'm getting the failures out the way now so I can hit when it's most necessary. Future Fusion is now live and declaring Chimeratech Overdragon. Zane sends the rest of the monsters in his deck, I think, to the graveyard. With one more set monster, he passes to me. Reinforcements have arrived as Drillroid comes to the rescue, but I suddenly sense danger, so I switch Sasuke to defense mode before I attack, and Zane uncovers the Mirror Force. I flip Compulse to recover my own Drillroid, but it left as fast as it arrived, so Sasuke once more has to defend me on its own. I'm flabbergasted as Zane sets a third monster and passes. I've never in my life seen him play so passively, which will make it hurt that much worse to see my former hero fall at my feet. Future Fusion will finally summon the Chimeratech Overdragon, but it sends Zane's entire field to the graveyard, killing itself and Limiter removal in the process. And his last 2 cards do nothing for him. I have never seen Future Fusion without Overload. Even though he heavy storms me, I just attack him directly, and he sits there doing absolutely nothing. Having learned nothing, Zane simply fades away into the darkness. I'm expected to just brush all that off and compete in the final, by the way. Luck has been a huge part of this run, so I decided to walk into Dorothy's shop and open a pack. These 5 cards will tell us how the finals will go for us. And it seemed fitting that the Cyberdark / D Hero pack be the one we open together. Oh shit, an ultra rare Cyber Dark Dragon! I don't know if this is sappy or legendary, but it's gotta be a good sign, so I feel a lot more confident. Let's avenge our family name. Zane's spirit is clearly with us because now I play Future Fusion, and Sasuke Samurai establishes his dominance. Aster sets the tone though with Clock Tower Prison, putting me on a literal 4-turn clock, and Kaiku now threatens to banish my machines. The coin has changed, and so have I. I call Tails! Tsunachi! I try to get my first lick of damage, but a Duelist Kingdom Trap makes that impossible. But I can't afford to fail, so I choose Tails! Tsunachi! It isn't looking good though, because even though I stopped Kaiku, Breaker will stop Future Fusion. My future has been changed, but my destiny remains the same. I call heads! Bang! We hit a third in a row. It's 6 o'clock now. We are at halftime with 2 clock counters, so I summon a second Sasuke to attack for a combined total of 2,400, since that was sadly the strongest card in my hand. The Destiny heroes are finally out to play, and Diamond Dude attempts to alter Aster's fate, but I shut it down with Divine Wrath, and he smites me in return using Lightning Vortex to eliminate all of my monsters. I am completely out of Samurai now. Ironically, I always ran just 2 copies, hoping I wouldn't draw it too often. Since I discarded Gyroid, this new Shining Angel is now the only card I can attack with, but when I summoned it, I get a warning. How the hell is Desmume taking 60 gigabytes? A direct attack puts him at 4,200, where my life is untouched, but that was as far as I could go now that the clock tower hit midnight. His face down was Spirit Reaper, so I was double walled here. But this is a game between 2 duelists who control destiny, so predicting the future, I set Adhesive Explosive now. We sit here for several turns, like Rainbow Magician, doing nothing but setting cards until the Destiny Hero Dasher hits the field, while also triggering a Sangan. Magic Cylinder gets me ahead here because Clock Tower doesn't stop effect damage, so I basically cut his life in half. Something told me to use my other trap now, so I flip Call of the Haunted, and he chains MST. Now we know for a fact he's not programmed to destroy his own spell for us. I thought Hammer Shot would help, but Destiny Mirage reversed its effects. A second Diamond Dude will help him comb through his deck while he can now attack with 2 monsters, so I buy time with Windstorm, hoping to save my bomb for later. Now the final Diamond Dude has been summoned. I have to use Waboku here because I know D heroes have D-Chain, and I was correct, except now it's been equipped to Dasher to give it 2600. Now I use my MST to finally remove his field spell, even though I'm triggering its effect. Destiny Hero Dreadmaster crash lands with 4,900 attack points. Strangely enough, I actually get asked whether or not I want Dreadmaster to summon up to 2 more monsters for him. I'm not sure if I can't read or if this is a bug, but Dreadmaster's attack is based on his heroes, so obviously I say no. After wondering what his final 2 traps could be, I think I have an idea. I use Submarine Roy to attack directly and set some more cards. This wasn't the only way for me to win, but it was the most dramatic one I can think of for the video. His 4 monsters cut through my angel and most of my life points, but none of it matters now. I figured he has D-Counter set, which destroys a monster attacking a Destiny hero, but Submarine Roy doesn't attack a monster, so now with limiter removal, I've won this duel. Then I noticed that this was a match. I forgot. Game 2 is Clock Tower again, and the incredibly rare Doom Caliber Knight, who isn't just big, but can negate monster effects. 2 can play at that game. I play Future Fusion, wall with Gyroid, and set up my Supercharge so my hand is fully replenished. My early MST gets his field spell out with lightning speed, and I set a monster. Fearmonger makes an appearance now, triggering my Shining Angel to trade 1-for-1 with Doomcal, even though it's already being destroyed, so I've stopped 2 attacks with 1 body. But Kaiku is free, so both Steamroid and Submarine Roid get removed from play. 2 turns have passed, allowing me to summon my Jumbo Drill. I use my second angel to attack first, flipping over the D counter I expected, but just in case there's a second one, I attack the Kaiku now. Everything switches to defense, so once more, I jab with Submarine, and Jumbo Drill hits a gut punch for 2,000 damage. Plus, with no heroes in grave, Fearmonger has no one it can revive. My advantage is short-lived, all thanks to another Lightning Vortex. Breaker might be in the grave now, but I don't have a lot in my hand to work with, and Spirit Reaper will make that problem a nightmare, ripping my pre-mat from me. Once again, we have no choice but to play tag. Then I find my final Submarine. Tenacious has the same attack as me, so even Dark City can't destroy me, and his other heroes are even stronger than him, so they won't get a field bonus. Graceful Charity doesn't net him anything, so a few turns later, my yellow Submarine has claimed the last of his life points. And with all of the dense and serious storyline taken care of, there's only one thing left on our to-do list. Prove that we are the best duelist on the island. My opening move is all reliable, whereas Jaden sets the tone like an anime script using polymerization on Avion and Burstinatrix to create the elemental hero Flame Wingman. Then there's his Future Fusion declaring Wild Edge, the hero who always gives us the most trouble in these duels. Skydive Scorcher is a powerful attack, but it cannot overcome my will. The coin will land on heads. Tsunachi! Not only do no monsters defend him now, but I've picked up MST like the heart of the cards to stop his Future Fusion. How will Jaden bounce back from 3,800 damage? First Smashing Ground is going to squash my Drillroid, and I feel like he always gets destroyed by something. Nothing stops another direct attack though, so the life differential is looking massive. The gap closes just a bit though when an unexpected Magic Cylinder comes into play to stop me from attacking his face down. You were right to fear my samurai. The elemental hero Stratos swoops in trying to grab an extra card, but Divine Wrath was ready to shut it down and keep his hand empty. Submarine can apply pressure now while Sasuke gets a redo. I am a man who was stuck in his ways, so I declare heads. And though I might have missed, I still destroy his dandelion. Funny enough, his fluff tokens could make his Neos live now, so I have to hope. It's just Wildheart this time, but I must prove myself in battle. 3 heads cannot be, so it must be tails. Tsunachi! Steamroid is now joining us, so I combine the efforts of my weaker 2 monsters to clear a path for yet another direct hit, and this advantage has landslided into a victory. After several long weeks of working through this run, I'm ready to put an end to things, and Jaden refuses to make that easy for me. Another turn 1 Future Fusion sets up for Wild Edge, Skyscraper threatens most of my monsters, and Stratos added another copy of itself to the hand, so he has a lot of power and versatility while I'm just sitting on a gyroid. Then he keeps me from recovering ground because the second Stratos destroys my supercharge. He also unexpectedly triggered my spirit monster instead of just doubling down on gyroid, which is a huge shame but a great read. And while he might not have a third Stratos, Jaden's fusion monster is here now alongside Wildheart. I flip over my compulsory evacuation device to send it back to the fusion deck, and my gyroid sacrifices itself to guard me from both of his remaining attacks. It's been an intense 6 turns with no life lost, but the field reveals that we definitely still have an uphill battle ahead of us. Time to get aggressive now. So I use Sasuke to attack Stratos and I call heads. We hit in a big way there, so Stratos is destroyed. But can we survive the crackback? I pray for heads again. My will simply wasn't as strong as Jaden's this time, so the Sasuke's defeated. Even though Skyscraper is out, Drillroid is my only play here, so it destroys the Wildheart. The final Stratos arrives and gets denied by Divine Wrath. These hero players have the equalizer every time, because what do you mean you had smashing ground? And it doesn't stop there, because I get desperate enough to try Gyroid, and Jaden flips over Torrential. Torrential? Torrential Tribute on a Gyroid, Jaden? What the hell am I supposed to do now? Still no offense, so the life is very close, but I'm not dealing with whatever trap he's setting, so I revive my Drillroid and top deck the Submarine. Magician of Faith does some reviving of her own, so now I lose Submarine to Smashing Ground. And many turns ago, Jaden used a Gold Sark to find Scapegoat, so that's being activated here. I redirect my attack to a token because on the one hand, it keeps him at only 1 monster, but on the other hand, a fusion would ruin me anyhow, so I'd rather try to clear a path for other monsters to attack directly too. Still rocking a single monster, he walls me further with a damned Dandelion, and when I come back around to attack tokens, it's too late. He drew Miracle Fusion, taking monsters from his graveyard to re-summon the elemental hero Wild Edge, and I just couldn't keep up. This is the 3rd and final round. 1 take. I'm running with whatever happens in this first attempt, just like I have been. My start is really passive, but Jaden gets a tank full of gas with Graceful Charity pitching his Dandelion for him, so next turn, both his Blade Edge and Neos will be live if he has either. Until then, he commits to Burstinatrix and uses her to jab at my face-down Submarine. Once again, I focus my subterranean sneak attack on a monster, but he keeps 2 alive and well thanks to Magic Cylinder again on my Gyroid. What is your damage, Jaden? King of the Swamp activates, and when I think he's gonna poly, he creates a miracle instead, using that swamp and a Sparkman he tossed with Graceful for the Shining Flare Wingman. Too bad I have my own Magic Cylinder for you, so you have to eat 2,500. And there's no traps in sight, so I have to create my momentum now, but I just couldn't accomplish that. How does Jaden respond? With not 1, but 2 fusions to make 2 copies of the Flame Wingman. Now he has 3 whole demons that each do burn. The first sinks my sub, and the second steps on my spirit, but the most powerful of the Wingmen is still on the field. I try to chip away at least, but by attacking his set monster, he just gets to recover his Graceful. 1 Wingman dies to my bomb, and the Stratos gets slapped with the same counter trap as before, but he still has a 3,100 Flare Wingman. Good thing my limiter removal makes me 32! I should have saved my trap card because I would have genuinely been so screwed if he attacked with the other fusion first, but I was equally afraid of the advantage Stratos gets him, so I made an executive decision. Before he ended his turn though, I realized that Jaden switched his final wingman to defense mode. So Premature Burial calls forth my Drillroid to remove the last threat from Jaden's field. The Future Fusion gets thrown down now, so now I'm really on a clock because I don't know how well I'll handle a 4th fusion monster. But when you're going to die, summon the Samurai. Drillroid attacks the face down because I expect all of his sets are Clayman, and with the guesswork done, Sasuke destroys his token. Tsunachi! There's 1 turn left on his spell, and we get a rematch here to decide our fate. I will command the coin's very soul and take hold of my destiny. Show me tails! Tsunachi! I didn't draw a monster, so Jaden clings on with a whole 1200 points, and the final hurdle is upon us. As Future Fusion now resolves, the elemental hero Wild Edge is here to clash one last time. He aims straight for my monster with Scimitar Slash, but he can't cut through my bond with my cards. In this final moment, the soul of the coin screams one thing only. But if I called it right, could I truly prove that I was the greatest duelist? So I call heads and fail, because to prove that I believe in my cards, I must let fate decide a different way. Supercharge draws me 2 new cards, now that Drillroid is my only monster. And the next card on top of my deck was Submarine Roid, dropping Jaden to 400. Wild Edge might have an Infinity Slicer, but what good is a sword in defense mode? Windstorm of Itaqua, protect my Roid! You fought an amazing battle, Jaden, but this ends now. Submarine Roid, use your Deep Depth Impact to... I misclicked. I was so tired, I forgot to switch him to attack mode first. I hope you don't mind the use of a cheat code here, but I wasn't redoing this duel. If you think that this should have counted as an official loss for Syrus though, I'm fine with that too. Anyways, this has been his second and final attempt at beating Spirit Callers. Thank you all for the support that you've shown for this series and for your patience, since now I can only really record on my days off. If you ever want updates on the channel, I'm going to be posting any of them that I have for you in the community tab, so check that regularly. I'll put together a playlist for all of these videos as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Later, people.